Hi, everybody. I'm Melinda Gallant, and I want to thank you for joining me today. Oh, we've got a great show planned here on Cape Conversations, the Fuzzy Slipper Edition. So come along, let's have another Cape Conversations. Hi, everybody. I am so glad you're joining me today in my Cape Conversations Fuzzy Slipper Edition. You never know what you're wearing on the bottom half here. I'm just saying. So I have a great guest today. He is wonderful. He's a former police chief. He's a selectman now. He's a man about town. He's almost a full-fledged Cape Codder, but he was born in Toby Hospital. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. So anyway, my friend and great guy, Mike Miller. How are you?
How you doing? I'm doing good.
Good, good. So Mike, you're running for selectman. Nobody's running against you. You're just too good, huh?
I know. I didn't have to buy any more signs this year.
Well,
I guess a few left over.
Yeah. So looking ahead, what do you see on the year ahead for the selectmen? You're not going to be chairman, right?
Well, it's up to the group.
Okay.
I will see.
Okay. Okay.
I think I just want to continue what we all started. This group of selectmen, when Sue James was chair, my first year, we made a commitment to start to do some things and try to get some things actually done. And those things included, we knew we had to do wastewater. We knew we wanted to do something with the wing school instead of another 5 years of sitting around and just talking about it. We wanted to look at economic development, the sewage issues, and all that. So we started, and this group has been very good. We got a lot of the stuff off the ground with changing the zoning for the wing school, so we could add some things. We eventually got some RFPs out there. We got an interested person. You know about that. That's supposed to be part of this whole town meeting process that we've been trying to get done. The wastewater, which was huge, we got that through. And it wasn't as much money as a lot of other towns, $86 million. We were lucky. Some of our town is clean on the East Sandwich end. And we found a way to fund these things, as well as the new town hall, which has been an issue for 45 years, about trying to get all the offices in one building.
Right.
And our goal was to try to fund it without as minimal taxes and no taxes. The power plant addition came on. We knew that money's coming for 25 years. And we decided as a group that was a source that wouldn't add additional taxes to do and accomplish some of these things. And as you probably know, we ended up with a process where we could even fund the senior center off of some of those receipts over the next 20 years.
Right.
So it was a kind of a great come together moment for all these things, and having the power plant come on at that time. And even though there are people that say they should get their money back and all that, these are issues I think that were never properly accomplished in a town, which is take care of your kids, your schools, your police, your fire, and your senior citizens. And we hadn't done that, and now we have a chance to do it. And so my next term is this kind of got screwed up with all what we're doing now. We had all these meetings scheduled and stuff, but my goal is to see it through. Is to see it locked into the point where the town's involved, it's done, and it's just putting it all together, you know.
Well, so you guys work together as a group. Do you have working committees in the selectmen?
Not really. We have assignments that we attend other group meetings and report back, but we've done everything pretty much. I think we've had one workshop, and Sue James was chair, to set up a priority list in town amongst all the different department heads. We held it at town hall, and we haven't had one since. We really haven't needed one. We've used the town meeting process to present the issues. So it's been a lot involved in 3 years, I'm telling you.
So your term will be for what, 3 more years?
3 more, right.
And then will you retire, or will you become like Franklin Delano Roosevelt and just keep running?
I hope we're going to be doing some traveling, but As you probably know, my wife is running for school committee.
Yes, I heard that.
So
Yeah,
I don't
well,
know where we'll be, but we're planning on trying to travel some anyway.
right, right. Well, hopefully we'll all be able to travel in the not too distant future. We had a trip, a stupid trip. I have a friend who says, "Oh my God, what are you taking a bus to Des Moines?" But we like road trips, and we were going to take a road trip
Yeah, we
back
did
to
too.
our old stomping grounds in Michigan and Ohio and all of that, and do those kinds of things, our old hometown things. Well, of course, that's all been canceled. So we're anxious to be able to just do that one little silly trip. Unfortunately, though, we
Well,
did
you
get to
probably,
Ireland.
yeah. Well, we're planning a trip, which we planned and we've booked all the hotels from here all the way to Yellowstone and all the national parks around that area
Yeah.
for November. So we're hoping that they'll all be open. We're driving.
Well, we'll keep our fingers crossed.
Yeah, yeah.
So
They're warning us now that the national parks.
go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, it's all right. Go ahead.
I said, so the national parks are supposedly opening up now, but they say to watch out. The animals are all screwed up because they've been closed so long.
Yeah. Well, I guess they kind of have the run of the parks, they say. So, listen, I want to ask you though.
They did. Yeah.
Of all those priorities, there are two that interest me the most. One is wastewater. Now, I used to be in charge of wastewater treatment plants. Oh my God, go figure, right? Me, Melinda.
Yeah.
They were commercial plants. One was at Mashpee Commons, and one was at South Cape Village across the street. And now I sit on the board of the Cape Cod Chamber of Commerce still. This is my last year coming up. And, wastewater is the big thing. I mean, we're nothing without our waterways, right? If we have dirty water, we're
Right.
in trouble. So where are we with all of that? People, their hair catches on fire when you talk about it.
Well, to start with, the town had done some preliminary work by setting up zoning and so forth around the industrial park, which would allow for a zone where you could legitimately discharge the effluent from a treatment plant. That was in place. The study that was done, we did a comprehensive wastewater, not just sewage. With that money from the base, I don't know if you remember that there was a site on the base where they shot off munitions, and as part of it, there was a $600,000 settlement. The town was very smart in using that money to hire a company to do a comprehensive study, which was not just wastewater, it was ponds, it was groundwater, it was extension of water, it was everything. A lot of the towns aren't doing that much. We had it done. It just got finished last year after all these years. So it ties in with the fact that the federal lawsuit that came down that said that they call it the 208 or whatever it is, that all of the Cape has to deal with it or it's going to be ordered by the federal government.
Right.
So we started ours. We were lucky in the sense that East Sandwich was not dirty as far as the tests go, as far as nitrates going into the ocean. But the highest point on Cape Cod, near the highest, is Forestdale, up near the base, and water runs down. And when they decided that it was no longer a town issue, it was a watershed issue, everybody in one of those plumes that's dirty all the way down the line has some part in paying for cleaning it up. Right. So we have a plume that goes to Barnstable through Mashpee. We have another one that goes the other way, but we only have a small percentage as they determined, like 25% of that responsibility. So we'll have to work on that, whether they'll build a plant, we'll have to kick in, whether there'll be some other mitigation. That's all being discussed on those plumes. The secondary issue was all of our developable commercial land is pretty much off of 130.
Right.
And so we found out, I was on the SEIC for a number of years, and we've always had trouble getting businesses interested in coming in. Tommy Sokolov has been one of them because they don't know the cost of wastewater. Right. And by working it over in Mashpee, that if you can't tell a business what it's going to cost them, if they're going to have to put in a whole system themselves or whether
Right.
they can get onto sewage, it makes a huge difference.
Right.
So as part of this process, the company that we hired, it looks like the pipes are the first stage will go right down Route 130. A place for the plant, if we build one, would be the end of the industrial park, which all is set up for it. Now that's the plan. However, at the same time, we found out that the base wanted to get rid of their septic responsibilities on the base. They've got a big septic up there. And so the towns got together, Mashpee, Falmouth, Bourne, and now Bonsable's in on this. And they went to meet with the military to see how big the plant is, how much it could take, and who would run it.
Yeah.
And there was 2 bids put out by the federal government to see who could take over the operation of the plant. One Bonsable applied for, and one was a company that deals with the military all the time. They still haven't made the final decision, but it looks like it could be a joint process or it may be one of those. Either way, it's a possible source for us to send some of our sewage instead of building a plant. We
Right.
could send it, pump it up into the Otis, especially the Forestdale side.
Right.
The problem is the state and all the agencies are now looking at whether there's enough discharge area on Otis if we enlarge that plant to handle all the towns, whether there's enough discharge area available. And they're working on that now. If that all comes true, we still have the money, the 86 million we already voted and all that, going to be coming, but it may adjust that we may not have to build a plant right now in Sandwich if we can use the base on that side. Or if we build a plant, other towns may want to jump in with us, at least on the Mashpee edges and all that. So those are the things that are up in the air right now. But and to add to that is the 2 schools, the Forestdale and the Oak Ridge, their plants, the state's already said we've got to do something with them. They've reached their time.
Capacity.
And
Right.
also the high school is even worse. So if we can tie these into this project, there were estimates as high as 10 million for the high school with some offset from the state, and not as much, but it's pretty high numbers out of Forestdale and Oak Ridge.
Oh, sure.
So if in fact we could get those lines in down 130, we could handle that problem too.
Well,
so there's a lot involved, but it's moving.
What about residential? I mean, you know where I live. You used to have a house over here, Town Neck.
Yeah.
I mean, we put in a very good
solid clay.
Well, no, here I'm on the downside. I'm all the topsoil. When they didn't put it, so I got all topsoil behind me into the marsh. But we put in obviously a new septic system years ago now that is, was at the time state of the art. There was talk at one time of hooking in Town Neck and maybe Main Street because again, close proximity.
Yep.
It's a village. It's got lots of Johns, so and wastewater. Would that ever be a possibility?
Yeah, what's interesting from history point of view, my father was involved, I think, in the late 60s in the first attempt to get the downtown area sewered. They actually discussed that the state was paying, I think, 80% of the cost, and they were going to do just downtown, and they were going to set up a treatment facility on 6A, just past the little cemetery going towards East Sandwich on, as you go past Crow Farm, a little ways down, there was an opening on the left that went to the marsh. And the town voted it down. And there was another attempt, I think, even after that. But now what's happened is that there are a number of ideas. The power plant originally was looking at maybe doing a system in there, and we haven't heard anything more about it. But if they did something there, we'd be looking at maybe we could jump on that for that part of town.
I got you.
That's up in the air. But in the long run, what's the folks that would be on the first stretch, the neighborhoods, which would be Route 130, Katuitt Road, that circle.
Yep.
At some point, if those lines are in and the plant's there, we'll have to work on how we're going to attach and what we're going to do for the local individual houses.
Right.
I would say Town Neck's down the road a ways. If it,
Yeah.
It's too bad because my parents lived on Dexter and Carmen, and I remember we had a double lot. They had 2 septic systems, and they were tight tanks, solid clay. Had to be pumped every couple months.
Right, right. Well, that's the good news of being on the downside of this hill. We have a marsh view, no ocean view, but we do have the
Yeah.
marsh view. So that's the good side. Okay, so that was one thing I was wondering about. And now the other big thing is, not that I'm aging, but I know many people in town are. What about the whole new senior thing? Not the senior center, that's a whole different thing. I'm talking about the living, senior living place at Wing School.
Yeah. If that is part of, it was supposed to be part of these, it's going to be part of these meetings, town meetings and stuff, because the company has been vetted by our people, and we've decided, the selectmen have decided to support it.
Yeah.
You know, it's a 60, I think it's a 65 and older, which I had never heard of till we started talking about this, but I guess that is a common thing now.
Yeah.
It's rental. It's the first unit, if it goes in, is I think 30 units, and then the option for a second building, and then an option for a third building. The sewage facilities from the Wing School can handle the first two sections.
Oh.
And the third section is going to be based on either adjustments to the present system or sewage for the town, and that's off 10 years probably from now anyway.
Yeah, yeah.
But everybody was concerned about the fact that, you know, we're paying so much money to get them started, and we're kicking in, I think, $2 million from CPC monies.
Right.
But when you talk to the people that follow these things up, these companies, in order to get their viability is based on getting tax credits from the state for these types of projects, which offset their costs. The state sets requirements on them getting those, and some of those requirements involve a buy-in from the towns. And from what I've learned is that most of the towns that are doing this with schools or buildings, they tend to give the buildings to the builders, because it won't work if they have to pay huge money for an old building that they have to tear down and renovate. They just
Right.
won't do the projects,
Right.
and they won't get the tax credits. So
Right.
it's very complicated process.
Right.
We got through all that. Heather Harper's been she's been running the whole thing for the town through the town selectman's office, administration office. But the bottom line is we need a vote, and we need some commitment, and then they'll start tearing down the buildings that aren't going to be part of it. The old Wing building is part of it. It will stay.
Right.
The facade will stay, in the old activity room, which is the big room to the left of the buildings, will stay.
Right. Right.
So that was one of the concerns we heard from most of the townspeople, especially the older townspeople, that they didn't
Right.
want that building destroyed. And I don't think historic would allow it to be destroyed anyway. So,
Right.
but that's been accomplished with this plan if the town votes for it. So we'll see.
Well, first of all, we could certainly use it. I mean, the town could use that kind of facility here. Let's face it, we're a town of older folks. And most older folks, if they don't have a lot of money, are not going to be maybe moving to Florida. They're not going to be moving here or there. They want to stay in Sandwich because they love being here. You're here because you love it. If you want to go someplace that pays less, you pay less taxes, or you have more commercial, then you can go other places. But you come here because for what it is. So I would think the town would jump all over this and say it's a good thing. I would think.
Well, I would think so too. And I know the board of selectmen think that way, but there are people that just don't want that type of a process in that area. But as far as seniors, I think it's so close to the center of town.
Oh.
It's walkable. I just think it's a great location for that.
It is. It is. Well, we'll all keep our fingers crossed on those things. So, Mike, what else? What else would you like to tell the community about that you got in your back pocket there?
I just want to see the new town hall opened with all of our offices in one place.
Yeah.
And selling off the rest of those buildings, and that's been something that's bothered me my whole working career in Sandwich, was why we had a situation where you'd have to go to 3 different locations to get a tax exemption on your and your license plates or whatever. You're back and forth and around. It just didn't make any sense. Plus, you're maintaining those buildings. And I always wanted, and I know that 45 years ago, we planned, when we tried to sell the town, a beautiful complex up off of across from the Human Services building that was going to be a town hall and a community complex, and that went down the tubes. So it's been that long, and we've been running 4 different locations. So
Yeah.
I'd love to see that done and get people all tied in where it'd be simple for people to do business and all that. So
Well,
that's huge. And I
well,
think that will happen. I also like the idea that we're getting rid of some of these excess town buildings.
right. What about the old town hall, the current town hall? I know you'll use the upstairs for meetings. Have you thought about what's going to happen to the bottom of that? I know there's
Well, I
lots of
hope that,
things out there.
well, I would hope the old town hall is a historic building.
Right.
It's right in the center of that area. I would think that hopefully they would do something either as a tourist center or
Yeah.
something like that with its use.
Yeah, I would hope so. I would also hope, I know that you'll need it for meetings still occasionally, but that stage, that historic stage, that it could be more open for other, for events and such. That would be really nice.
Well, the upstairs should be used for as many events as they possibly can. That's what it was renovated for.
I know.
And, I know that there's been, a challenge with the meeting spaces.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and we have the Sandhill School now, which is great.
My mother.
Go ahead. Your mom. What about your mom?
Yeah, that's. Yeah, my mother and aunt used to tell stories about watching movies from upstairs in the town hall and all that when it was in the 1940s. How about that?
Oh, I know a lot of the famous actor, Joseph Jefferson of the time, back at the turn of the century, used to come and perform on the pond and also do recitations on the town hall stage. He was like, I don't know, the Brad Pitt of the era. And he would come to Sandwich on vacation to Cape Cod. Yeah. And he would perform. And, we have a rich history here of cultural cultural places, certainly with heritage and the Wing House and all of those good things. So it'd be nice to be able to bring it back and do all those things there again. And of course, I happen to be ever so slightly partial to doing theater things on that stage. So just a little bit.
Yes, I heard that.
And I can be a pain in the neck about it. So.
Well, again, my point is that's what the town spent the money on, the CPC money on, to renovate it to be used. Now, we always know parking is an issue around there, but we managed to get around it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, all I know is I'm going to wish you congratulations, because I'm going to assume that you're going to win your race. And I know you want everybody to get out to vote. We want everybody to get out and vote who can, or if they haven't already mailed it in, and to be safe when they go. So thank you, Mike. Anything else you want to say before we close it out here?
No, it's just these are unique times, and one of the unique parts of it on an election is Sue and I pulled our ballots, I think 2 weeks ago, when the first day we could get them, and everybody's already, I guess thousands have already voted.
Yes.
And there's been no discussion really, or we haven't had time to discuss or have things like this because of what's happened. Right. It's just lucky in the sense that most races were not contested. The planning board is. It'll be interesting to see how that turns out.
Sure.
Because we really haven't had an opportunity to hear from them.
Well, what's funny about this, I was talking with somebody else about it, and of course I talk with my kids. We Zoom with our kids. Everything stopped as of March 13th. Life stopped. It was starting to stop, but it stopped dead in its tracks. And I know it's been hard. You know it's been hard for other people. It hasn't been hard for my husband and myself. We're okay. You and Sue are fine. Well, occasionally you want to kill each other, but that's, you know, that's normal. So, but it is it is our maybe this is our cross to bear for our generation. The generation before had to deal with World War II and all those things and the Korean War. This is our cross, I guess. That's all I know how to say. It's just is what it is.
You know, just as a passing comment, interest-wise, I've been following the obituaries, and you look at the 96 and 97-year-olds, and you look at what they lived through in total for those 96 years,
Yes.
and we're a bunch of wimps compared to them.
You know, you're right. I saw something on Facebook that said, "Oh, you poor thing. You have to, you know, you didn't have depression era. You didn't have to go on rationing. You didn't have to give up gasoline. All these things. No, you get to sit on the couch and watch Netflix. Oh, you poor things." And it's we got nothing to complain about.
Yeah, true.
So I want to thank you, Mike. And if somebody wanted to
Thank you.
if somebody wanted to get a hold of you, how do they get a hold of you? Through town hall?
Yeah, the town hall. Yeah, go through town hall because they notify us right away of any calls or anything. So that's the easiest way.
All right. So very good. I wish you again the best of luck. Your wife is running for school committee. I know that. So I hope she wins.
Yeah.
All the right
I don't think there's much competition there.
No, no, I don't think so. Evidently. So anyway. Listen,
Very good.
thanks again, kiddo. I appreciate it. Good to see you.
All right, Melinda, thanks.
Stay well. Mike Miller, selectman, former police chief here in Sandwich, a guy who's lived here all his life and knows probably just about everything there is to know about the town. Wonderful, fun, very smart. Looks like the town is being well handled. So I want to thank you for joining me today. And I want to remind you to stay safe, stay in when you can, wear your mask, and smile. Because you know what? We're all going to get through this. See you later. Thanks again. And I'll catch you another time on Cape Conversations.